Could there be a glimmer of hope for South Sudanese after days of fighting as delegates for the government and rebels fighting to push it from power open talks amid, or that is aimed at ending nearly 3 weeks of violence? Well, some experts have warned the situation will worsen if the East African Regional Bloc, IGAD, the International Authority on Development, failed to reach a deal with parties. Meanwhile, religious leaders are pleading with both sides and the international community to ensure an end to hostilities.
There's not that deep hatred that cannot allow these people not to sit together, because it is a one party which has have divided itself. So if it is one party, I think the international community plus all of us, the churches, we want them by all means to sit and agree before it escalated.
South Sudan's President Salva Kiir on December 16, 2013, in a nationwide broadcast announced an attempted coup by disgruntled soldiers has been put down. Let's take a listen to what he said.
An attack at the SPLA General Headquarters near Juba University. By a group of soldiers allied to the former Vice President Dr. Riek Machar Singh and his group. These attacks continued until this morning. However, I would like to inform you all, my dear citizens, that your government is in full control of the security situation in Juba.
The meeting in Ethiopia, is it a solution to South Sudan's problems? This is today's big story. Ms. Bright Nanafu, thanks so much for staying there for us. Now, South Sudan is the world's newest state. It's no doubt. It was formed in 2011, gaining independence from Sudan after decades of conflict. Bloodshed in the world's newest country erupted when renegade soldiers attacked its South Sudanese army headquarters on December 15. President Salva Kiir accused former Vice President Machar of a coup attempt. The Five Nations, that is the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, also warned the rebels, led by former Vice President Riek Machar, that they will not accept the unconstitutional overthrow of Sudan's government. The U.S. Embassy in Juba has meanwhile ordered the evacuation of more staff due to the deteriorating security situation in South Sudan. The son of John Garang is backing Dr. Riek Machar, and soon I'll be telling you what exactly is happening in Ethiopia, where government and rebel forces are meeting to find a solution. But we'll also try and look at what is in store for that meeting in Ethiopia. And soon I'll come back to the studio and I'll tell you my guest in here. And his name is Irbad Ibrahim. He's an international news analyst, and he's been following critically this South Sudanese problem here. Irbad, welcome to today's show.
Thank you so much.
Let's begin from the meeting in Ethiopia. Yeah. We should be smiling. After all, we have gotten the government and rebels to agree to come together and talk. But can we achieve anything?
Bright, I think the talks will be difficult, but a ceasefire is attainable. It is within reach. Just that the talks will be a bit difficult because both parties have taken entrenched positions.
Right.
the three demands Riek Machar is making are: one, there can't be anything, there can't be any talk of ceasefire until there is an abdication by Salva Kiir.
Right.
So Salva Kiir should give up power. That is the first condition he is given. And then the second condition is that all the political detainees that have been apprehended after they were accused of taking part in this coup should also be freed. And then thirdly, they are also asking that we can't only pay lip services to the cessation of hostilities. They want something substantive that will be monitored by the international community. So those are the demands Riek Machar is making. And on the other side, Salva Kiir is saying, why? Oh, I'm a constitutionally
elected president. So why are you asking me to step down before
Certainly.
we talk?
And so it is preposterous in the assessment of Salva Kiir that a rebel leader should ask him to give up his seat as president of South Sudan. And then secondly, on the issue of cessation of hostilities, he says the rebels are those who are not committed to any peace. Because if you are getting ready, if you are prepping up for peace talks, you don't go about attacking further territories. And we can see an escalation of the conflict on the side of the rebels in the past few days, because they want to negotiate not from a position of weakness, but from a position of strength. So they've done their best to recapture the flashpoint city of Bo. So the talks are going to be quite difficult, but I think a ceasefire
we can attain a ceasefire. But hold on, let me speak to the Associate Director of the Center for Regional Integration in Africa, Dr. Vladimir Ntwidanso. He's just joined this conversation on phone. Dr. Ntwidanso, thanks so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
First of all, Africa, in the middle of a conflict, has been able to bring the two parties in the conflict together to sit down and talk. That is a plus. I guess you would say that.
I would say it's a big plus. It's a really big plus, and it's coming from a regional organization. That's something to be applauded.
We are applauding it, but is the talking the solution we can find for South Sudan's problem?
You know, the point is that the South Sudan problem is a complex of problems. You know, quite complex. Independent. The people are not of one ethnic origin. So ethnicity supported mainly by the North in trying to divide and rule. They only came together because for the purpose of getting the independence. They got independence. The place is very poor. It's the poorest country in the world, and the infrastructure is so bad. All the things that you can talk about as a nation was not there. So the ability of the nation itself was not there at the time of independence. So you needed both the tenacity of leadership, that's number one, the unity of leadership. Two, you needed Africa to support them. You needed the international community to go and support very rapidly. Unfortunately, we all left them, it's a new nation, they have to do their own thing. Whereas the war zone was already there. The question of Abyei had not been resolved, and the North also would want to see them not united. So all these things created that complex of problems, for the new nation.
Right. Dr. Ntwidanso, hold the line for me briefly. Let me go to South Sudan. Godfrey Victor Bula is a human rights activist there and a lawyer. He will brief us on what is happening. Godfrey, thanks so much. If you can hear me clearer now. The talks, we're told, is taking place. What can you tell us from what is happening there?
What is happening now in South Sudan, in Juba, we know yesterday the delegations of the government reported to Addis Ababa for the issue of representing the government and the group of Machar. The two groups have reported there to Addis Ababa. But up to now, the group of the meeting, the delegations that the report to the city that the House will start face-to-face discourse tomorrow. However, people in South Sudan are looking at now how these two groups will move to a cessation of hostilities and a ceasefire that will put up an end to ongoing conflict. We hear the government has announced that the flood part of the country will stay producing area by the sector. The government has recovered back the area. And also today we are hearing reports that the militia, military, the rebels were trying to advance from Juba. Felix Colonel Philip Aguirre, the spokesperson of the lowest development, said that the army managed to return back these forces into war. And we see now there will be expectation that tomorrow or tonight will be a serious fighting again in the town where both sides are trying to claim back control of the town. However, the citizens at the moment, what the citizens are looking at is how the two groups can bring out cessation of hostility and put an end to this war that's going on.
Right. Victor, thanks so much for speaking to us. Godfrey Victor Bula is a human rights activist and lawyer from Juba there, telling us what is happening. But Dr. Ntwidanso is still on phone. Now, Dr. Ntwidanso, you made a point earlier that South Sudan gained independence when all was not well. In the case of Ghana, we remember Dr. Nkrumah being told that the country is not yet ready for independence. Does it seem to suggest that perhaps Sudan was also not ready for independence?
I wouldn't say so. If we had delayed a little, the war situation would have been more exacerbated. So the whole world agreed and supported the secession. There was no way North and South Sudan were going to get on. But after having led them to the secession, what I was saying was that we shouldn't have left them the way they were because the situation was very volatile. As we speak right now, about 6 of the states are embroiled in the war. North Sudan also started some kind of proxy war because of the Aden question. And that's where the whole world made the mistake of thinking that having gotten independence, they could solve their problems themselves. I thought the whole world should have sent in experts in kind of stabilize, like Europe's right to do for Kosovo. Why is it that when it is Africa, we believe Africa must be left alone? In Kosovo, they sent thousands and thousands of specialists, economic assistance and that sort of thing, wanting Kosovo to become independent. They haven't succeeded now yet. But then Kosovo is a state now of its own one way or the other because of the international community support. We left Sudan on its own, and that is very bad, knowing very well that the tensions were very high over there.
Right. Now, this situation that you have described, how difficult does it make the talks currently ongoing?
It is going to be extremely difficult because, it's more tribal now, one way or the other. And as tribal as it is, in Africa, we don't talk about issues, we talk about personality. And you see the demands that are being made now are just unrealistic. And I believe that in case of a situation where things are going to deteriorate, the AU must make possible some kind of standby force to intervene to force the peace, which is acceptable in international law. Let's force the peace and force it to the table.
You think that the EU must step in when it gets too tough?
Exactly.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. Dr. Vladimir Ntwidanso is Associate Director at the Center for Regional Integration. Now, let me come back to the studio. Ilbad is still here. From what we have just heard, the talks will be more difficult, as you said. But can we find a way out?
Yeah, there can be a way out, but at the end of the day, we should look at what each side is looking for. Perhaps Riek Machar would want to back something at the end of tomorrow's talks, when talks commence tomorrow.
Right.
The best he can get will be a negotiated concession by Salva Kiir that perhaps there's going to be a form of a power sharing agreement, just as we saw in the case of
Salva Kiir will be comfortable with that?
Perhaps. That is, if he is ready to make that far-reaching concession. So we get a repeat of what happened in Kenya in 2008 when Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki shared power for a period of time. That is the best Salva Kiir can get, and that is the best Riek Machar can get out of the negotiation. It's preposterous to think that this guy will say, I'm going to leave power because of what you think the country should do. And therefore, for him, they say when you want to hit the moon, you target the sun. So if you miss the sun, at least you get a star. If you don't even get the moon. So he knows so well that having been sacked in July, perhaps his moribund political life can be resuscitated again.
Through this.
So therefore, initially, I thought Salva Kiir was on a winning spree. But unfortunately, this guy might have had some white military commanders who orchestrated this. You can see in the past few days he has been pushing so high, and we are told that the rebels are only some 30 kilometers away from the capital, Juba. So there is no way Riek Machar will bargain in this from a position of weakness. He's a strong man going forward into the talks tomorrow. So he's putting Salva Kiir in a very tight corner, because in the past 3 weeks, Salva Kiir has proven over and over to the international community that he's a pacifist persona who believes in peace, and therefore he'll be under huge pressure to embrace peace, even if he has to make some compromise in this. So the choice is his, and he will decide. But if neither side agrees, and at the end of the day there is a walkout by both factions, then the situation will exacerbate further, just as the doctor has said. And the time will come for the international community, whether in the case of AU, what IGAD, and IGAD has even shown a willingness. Yoweri Museveni, the president of Uganda, having given an ultimatum, said to Riek Machar that if he didn't tell his people to lay down their arms, they would use military force to disarm them. And therefore, he knows that there is a certain deterrent force waiting for him in case he doesn't embrace it. So the talks will be very difficult. We face a daunting challenge in brokering peace between these two people. But it's attainable.
It's attainable. Anyway. Salva Kiir, you said, could be under pressure to accept certain compromises because of the way he's carried himself to the international community.
Exactly.
But do you think he still has the support of the international community to continue as the ruler of South Sudan?
He does, because the worst that can happen to him is that perhaps he will have to share power with his rival, who is Riek Machar in this case. And therefore, he would also want to be seen as a strong man. He wouldn't take blows lying down. That is why he's also marshalling his power, so that he can take over the city of Bo and then go further to disarm the rebels. And the international community is the one in trouble currently, because whether we agree or not, we have to go through the process of disarmament, rehabilitation, and reintegration.
Exactly.
But the way Riek Machar has assumed an intransigent position, it will be very difficult for the international community to be talking all diplomacy as the war enters into its first month. So if push comes to shove, the international community will have to bite the bullet by using force to put the rebels in line.
And then comes the issue of the ethnic divisions. From what we're hearing, it's the whole thing has not turned into an ethnic conflict.
No, Riek Machar has been able to deflate that allegation. Right?
That is not an ethnic conflict?
Yeah, that is what he's trying to do. You know, all this while we've thought that it is an insurrection being headed by the Noa ethnic group against the Dinkas. But in the past few days, he has made some maneuverings that have been quite encouraging. He has appointed the widow of the deceased independence fighter, John Garang, who was not a Noa, but a Dinka. Rebecca Jaran was appointed by Riek Machar to be part of his negotiating team. So there is a savvy move by this man to tell the international community that all this while, all these past 3 weeks, you've accused me of leading a Noa insurrection. But this is a broad-based disenchantment with the dictatorial inclinations of Salva Kiir.
And you think the international community believes him there?
Well, tomorrow will tell. Up to now, there hasn't been any face-to-face encounter between those two feuding factions. It is only interlocutors that are representing them right now. So the posturing tomorrow will tell who is the aggressor and who is the peace lover.
Does his appointment of a Dinka into perhaps what we want to call a Noa rebellion, it complicates the whole issue more?
It doesn't. It will only weaken the morale of those who are fighting on the side of Salva Kiir. They'll think perhaps, no, this lady is an icon. It's just like being on the side of the wife of Nkrumah in a conflict in Ghana. Certainly, that moral issue will come up. And therefore, they think that perhaps he stands on an ivory tower of morality, that he wants this to be a broad-based, uprising against a dictator like Salva Kiir. And we can't rule out the fact that Salva Kiir has made some missteps in the past, because he sought to alienate a section of the South Sudanese community, and he wielded all the political power. And therefore, this was a time bomb, and it was in the offing, so he should have seen the writings on the wall.
Are we likely to see the international community, like you said, is doing quite well, trying to look at both sides and bring them to talk? They are now talking. But if we have a walkout, are we likely to see the hands of the international community tied as to what to do?
I expect a walkout, Bright. The chances
and would that tie the hands of the international community?
The chances of tomorrow's talks are 60-40. because these people have taken entrenched positions. This guy says the president has to step down. He says he won't step down. Number two, he says you should free all the 11 political allies I have. He says he won't free them. He says there should be a cessation of hostilities. He says your side is not committed to the cessation of hostilities. So this is, this is a negotiation that is dead at infancy. And perhaps it will take a miracle for us to have a breakthrough tomorrow. But whatever happens, the international community has to use its power to put things right, because the humanitarian situation is so bad. There are close to 1/5 of a million people who need medical and sanitary facilities. They need food and all that. Therefore, we can't wait for the fight to fester on for a long time. But you can't blame the international community. We are a continent that has been subdued for so many centuries. We were used as beasts of burden by the white man. And we clamored for independence. We've been given independence, and we are eating one another. See the flurry of conflicts on the continent. There is a Central African Republic, DR Republic. Somalia is unstable. Egypt, Tunisia, northern Nigeria. All of this, and the international community has to eke out the little resources. It has to cater to the humanitarian plights of people. And therefore, on the humanitarian level, perhaps this will be a failed exercise by the international community. That's why I think the United States should show leadership. The U.S. should not be limited to the evacuation of their diplomats from Juba. Obama, I don't know. Look, Republicans have all these years been considered hawkish people when it comes to foreign policy. But Barack Obama has adopted a wishy-washy foreign policy approach. The United States should not have waited for this conflict to take on to continue for 3 weeks. There are times you need to bite the bullet and use your bully pulpit and
get things moving. So
now things are being done according to the terms of the feuding factions. It means the international community is behaving like a lame duck.
If we go into it tomorrow and we have a walk-off, and the international community decides to step in militarily, can Marshall withstand the international community's force? He cannot. But would he give up that easily?
No, I don't expect him to give up that easily. But because even if the white people want to intervene, they will help with cash. Largely speaking, and the East African soldiers will have to deploy, and I'm sure Uganda will be the first to deploy its forces into the country. Such rebellions are defeatable. We've seen it in other parts of the continent because they don't have any religious undertone, so that they can have an unending pool of recruits. These people are a handful of people. They may number into their hundreds or thousands. If there is a robust move by the international community to whip them in line, Riek Machar can be defeated. But Salva Kiir also seems not to have been able to bring together all of his army around him to support him. At first, there was this element of surprise in what happened some 3 weeks ago. But you've recovered from the surprise. And I would expect an army that has been built over the past 3 years to be able to crash such a descent. So that tells you that the disenchantment of the disgruntled people is widespread. And it has eaten deep into the army as well. Because if he doesn't have cooperation from the army generals and colonels, then he can't map out a military strategy to defeat Riek Machar alone. That is why tomorrow, if there happens to, in the unlikely event that there is a walkout tomorrow, the international community has to militarily engage itself in the country to stop
we're getting ready to wrap up this conversation, but let's look at this one. Now, Riek Machar goes into the discussion, is able to get a power-sharing deal. What signals would it send?
Look, the whole of the continent has realized that we can't rely upon the international community for democratization. Something happened in July in Egypt. We seem to have glossed over it. That subtle betrayal of Morsi is being, taken advantage of by other people on the continent who have realized that even you can torpedo a democratically elected government and go scot-free. Yes, Abdel Fattah Sisi and his cohorts have been able to topple President Morsi, who was elected not through the barrel of the gun, but through the ballot box. And the international community is engaging with them. So everybody on the continent who feels like any government is not treating it well, everybody on the continent who feels like any government is not treating him or her well, and the person can marshal the support of some people within the electorate and torpedo any government, would go for it, because they know that the international community will not have have any robust reaction to it.
Right.
And they will agree that you should be part of a transition process so that you become part of the political system of the country. And therefore, Riek Machar has seen the writings on the wall. That is why he has taken such a step. But the situation is salvageable, Bright. Let's go into the talks tomorrow. The belligerent one should be beaten in line. It should be beaten into submission. If it so happens that Salva Kiir says, well, we can share power, so that in the next few years we can organize free and fair elections for the people to choose. And the NUA will feel emboldened by this. So anytime in future that they are not content with any Dinka-led government, they will start up an insurrection.
Right.
So we can't afford to set such a bad precedent for future generations to follow in South Sudan.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. Irbad Ibrahim is an international news analyst talking to me about South Sudan. And, of course, we'll have a second part, but this is today's big story. Right, news just trickling in is indicating that the Date Bar Committee that investigated the WikiLeaks tape has thrown out that case that was sent there. I don't forget that the committee was set up to investigate what has become as the WikiLeaks saga. And some people were invited to the committee to testify on what happened there. But the news coming in is that the committee has thrown away that case. We'll get you more later on other programs. But time now to wrap up the first segment of the show, and we're getting into the interactive segment. What the lady Gladys will say, she'll tell you exactly why people want to keep TV number plates and then wait so the first day of the year, the first month of the year, and get new number plate. We'll tell you that on interactive segment. Stay right there. I'm coming back in a moment. Welcome back to the big story. The interactive segment is coming up, and Gladys has just joined me. We're talking about vehicles, and have you registered one today?
No, I haven't.
Not any this year at all?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're expecting to register one before the year ends?
Obviously,
You're not
yes.
looking for a 2014 number?
Not really, but I am looking forward to a new car soon.
Gladys, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Nana. So you are welcome to the interactive segment on today's big story. My name is Gladys Osei Uredu. Thanks for staying on. So you can be part of the interactive segment on today's big story, or you can join us on Twitter, and our Twitter handle is at joynewsjn.com. And you can also join us on Facebook, and you can also send us the Facebook address is Joy News on TV. And so keep your comments coming through, and we would be here interacting with you. So going straight, today we are talking about what you are talking about, vehicle registration and all that has to do with your vehicle insurance. The pressure started building yesterday when some members of the general public were not too happy about the new charges on vehicle registration. Those who used to pay 18 cedis are now paying between 35 and 38 cedis, and this, they claim, was not communicated to them last year. We spoke with Kweku Titi Esiedu, the DVLA office.
I came to renew my driving license, my roadworthy certificate, but I was told I have to go to Dome. It's quite a distance. Do you understand? We used to do it here. Very easy. When you come there, you do it and you go. Now, they don't do private here. They've given it to the private garages. And meanwhile, the prices have been increased. You see?
Were you informed about it?
I just got here and I got to know
that
the price has gone up. You understand? So it's causing inconvenience. You understand? They should have given us a date, maybe like in a month's time, this is what the price will be, blah, blah. You just can't increase prices like that.
However, others will disagree. The new charges they intimate is fine. We spoke with Reverend Dr. Ajay Mensah, who was also at the DVLA office.
Yes, 2 years ago I paid 160 something, and today I'm paying 190 something. So there is some increase. Yes.
Is it okay or you?
It's okay. You see, when we're talking about things going on, we forget to talk about the monies received, the salaries we receive. I hear people talk a lot, things are going on. But look at me, I'm a teacher. Some time ago, principal student, we are getting about 500. With the advent and the coming of single spine, people went to 1,000 plus. And we're not talking about that. It's a huge sum, a huge gap. The increase is very huge. So it's okay.
Now, another interesting trend the DVLA is observing is people waiting for a new year to register cars they bought the previous year. The police administration is complaining of the use of DV number plates by drivers. Why wait till the end of till New Year to get new numbers? What is the motivation for people waiting to get new numbers when the year begins? Is this necessary? Well, we hit the streets of Accra and sampled your views.
You know, there's a norm in Ghana. We dispose of cars and we buy cars according to year. And so I got this car last year and I decided I'll keep it to 40, so that I put the new 40 in. Okay. That's special number. I registered 2 years ago a Ford Expedition and I had a General 3312 and I decided to have another 3314.
Is there anything special?
Some do it for fashion or like for people to know that their car is like existed, like it came into existence this year or something. But I don't think it's good because the moment you buy it, you must like register it the same year to make a little bit different.
It's not a good practice because if you bring in car, you're supposed to pay taxes to help the taxes to be used to develop the country. So I don't support the idea. I will encourage all those who buy cars to register, pay taxes for the taxes to be used to develop the country.
That's the function for Ghana here. If everybody buy car on the 13th, even almost to the year, you don't want to register it unless the next year, so that the car is flash this thing. That's why Ghanaians are doing that. Because everybody will not buy a car 13th, about December 13th and register the car at the moment or that time 13th. You wait until next year 14th before you register it. So that your car too will be a new number. That's the function for Ghana here.
Ghanaians normally buy their cars on the basis of registration number. But when the registration is older, it makes the car older. When you register it in the new number, the person feels it's on a new in case you want to sell it. That is why you normally want a New Year's number.
They want to start the year with everything new. I think so, actually.
Basically, it will depend on each and everyone, because someone may want to register within the year before the beginning of the year, because maybe they feel it's the beginning of the year and probably if there's going to be any change, if they do it the previous year, they might have some cost to bear or something of that sort. But they would want to start the year, so it differs from person to person anyway.
Well, so no wonder you see some old rickety car and it is 2014 registration. Now you know why. Well, Chief Executive of the DVLA, Rudolph Beckley, says the unit was hit by a long queue December 2, 2013 to register their new vehicles.
As we speak right now, we have over 300 vehicles currently in this morning we are attending to. But then the place is relatively quiet because of the structures we put in place. We have a lot of vehicles parked outside there, and we are only accepting 50 vehicles at a go. We want to manage the vehicles in a kind of a structured form so that we don't have a lot of vehicles cluttering over here and confusing the whole system. So as a result of the structures we put in place, a lot of vehicles are outside, and we have just allowed 50 vehicles in here. We started work at 8 o'clock prompt. I was here 7:30 myself. All my management staff are here.
You also have been sharing your comments with us. But before I bring you the comments you've been sharing with us on our Facebook page and on Twitter handle, I have DSP online to talk to us about the challenges the DVLA is going through this year with car registration. So I have online DSP Alexander from the DVLA of Ghana. Hello, Alex. Hello.
Yes.
Happy New Year to you, Alex.
Oh, thank you, again.
And thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much.
So tell us, how far with the car registration, the long queue, the pressure and all that? Tell us a bit about that.
I think, with regards to vehicle registration, it is a responsibility of driver and vehicle licensing authority of Ministry of Health. So, under the rule law, they need to also ensure that Section 8 of our rule law is respected by all who do it and take no one because it means that if the vehicle has not been registered and issued with the appropriate non-public, the owner cannot own the vehicle, let alone drive a vehicle without a number of road. So that is what we look at. So our are vigilant and tracking that people that registration number are protected from using the road.
So, hello?
I'm here.
Okay, yes. So, how does it really affect the work of the DVLA officials?
How will I rate it?
I'm asking, how does the long queue, when they wait till the first year, when they want a new registration in the new year, how does it really mount pressure? How does it affect your delivery?
Well, I think if I got the first place, and I think that for us, or for section of children, they think that.
Hello, Alex. It's very difficult to hear you, so we'd rather cut a call and call you back shortly.
Thank you.
All right. So let's listen to more comments from officials about the DVLA new number registration.
The increment is too much because if you increase the amount, then you are going to prevent people from registering. So I would advise the government to do something about the increment.
That one too is affect. It changes the prices in car buying. You understand me? And at the same time too, transportation becomes different. So if the government is making something on that 10%, it would rather make the transportation system rather good for the people.
Currently, looking at our economy, I think is quite on the high side. You know, VATs all over the place. I think is on the high side, but I don't know if they are able to explain the importance of it to the public. I think they will be interested in paying and all that, because now Ghanaians are really interested in knowing the value for what they are paying their monies for. So when you're able to explain to them why they are paying or why they should pay the 10%, I think they will do it willingly.
Today in modern Ghana, like everything increases. Like as like the country is moving forward. So I don't see something wrong with that if it increases. It's normal.
It's too much for Ghana because nowadays we are suffering from Ghana here about financial distance. So I think it's too much. If they can even do something about it to reduce it.
We have DSP Alex back on the line. He is with the Ghana MTTU. Please, MTTU. Hello, DSP. Hello, DSP.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, now it's better. I was trying to find out, when people keep their DV number plates till the beginning of the year, how does it affect the work of the MTTU, please?
I think the challenge includes so many vehicle owners with unregistered vehicles using the expired DV plate of the previous year. And that's why yesterday we hurried to your good office for you to assist us to, as it were, extend the expiry date of the 2013 DV. That is the first challenge because our personnel are trained to prevent Ghanaians from using the previous year's DV in the ensuing year, and that was very difficult. Again, we know that when there is that conflict of the new and the old, people may abuse the system because we know that people are not expected to use a DV plate for purposes of which they might be using it presently. So that is a very difficulty that we have. Again, we know that our stakeholder, DVLA, also such times like this also face a lot of difficulty in their yards, and we are called to go and direct traffic and control because people will hold on to their DV till the following year, 3rd January, to go and register the claim to add value to the vehicle that they are having because fresh vehicle in Ghana is determined by the number plate they have instead of the mileage and other specs on the vehicle. So we also know that when people begin to hold on to DV for a very long time, there are instances that they misuse and abuse it and use it for the purposes of which these DVs might not have been granted to them, including using it for basic attack and all that, including funerals, backing on family journeys.
DSP,
yes.
I'd also like to find out your thoughts about the increment in the registration fees. Now, what they used to pay 18 cedis, people are paying over 30 cedis for it.
I think with regard to fees, road user fees and these are specified in I think the second schedule of the road traffic regulation like 2118, and therefore Parliament has everything to do with it. And some of these taxes have to do with the state, and police may not be the best institution, and therefore me to comment on why the increase in the service charges by the driver and vehicle and or Ministry of Transport or Parliament. So for me, that is not a problem. As far as I'm concerned, these agencies also need certain IGF or internally generated fund and to work efficiently, and also the state also get some revenue out there to ensure that the state machinery runs our national comfort. So for us, I think let's leave it to the authorities. But as far as you're concerned, whether the service fee or charges are increased, what we know is that people must ensure that their vehicles are registered. People must ensure that they validate their documents, whether roadworthy or insurance, or to ensure that the vehicles are tested and are issued with the appropriate number plates, and drivers are licensed appropriately to handle all classes of vehicles. So nobody can hide behind a service fee charged by DVLA and come on the road and disturb us.
All right.
We are also determined to prevent recalcitrant and repeat road traffic offenders who continue to impact negatively on our road traffic crashes and road safety issues.
All right. Thank you so much, DSP Alex,
Thank you very much.
from the Ghana Police MTTU, for sharing some thoughts and explaining to us how challenging it has been for them with people holding their car registration till the new year. Let's take some comments from you as you commented on our Facebook page. So we posted on our Facebook and on our Twitter that police administration is complaining of the use of DV number plates by drivers. Why wait till the new year to get new numbers? What is the motivation for people waiting to get new numbers when the year begins? Is this necessary? How can we prevent the use and abuse of DV number plates? All right, so we asked you to join us on Joy News Interactive, and definitely you have posted some comments, and I'm going to be going through. So Anna for Don Rogers at Windsor Karim says, people want to flex up with their old cars with new numbers. You don't know Ghanaians. Right, so that's just what I was trying to speculate. Benjamin says, it's because the law of our land have somersaulted. That's why nothing seems to work in this country. All right, so Berryman says, no sense at all. Kennedy Asaribe Queen says, I heard they have been given up to the 8th of January, so after that date, anyone with DV should face the loss of the land. All right, so, okay, of course, they'll be checking the date. So people with almost expired DV number plates are those I believe would be in that within that time frame. Gilbert from Bogatanga says, it looks as if DVLA serves GPS immigration officials are very good friends of corruption for a long time, that something needs to be done urgently to save Ghana. These are the places the government must focus on if really it wants to weed corruption forever. All right. Emmanuel Amo Afre says, why would I go for 2013 if 2014 is around the corner? All right, so you, this police should rather think of how to eradicate bribery and corruption. And but of course, I don't agree with you, Amo, because if your number has expired, your DV number has expired, and you want to keep because you want new registration number, obviously, how would you handle the police? I'm sure you'd also be bribing them just so they spare you. You won't park your car. I don't think you park your car. So, I don't agree with you there. Johnson of Benampopo says some people use the DV number just to get their cars unregistered to be able to attract customers when they are selling it, even if they use the car for so many years. I think the police should be well equipped to enforce the laws about DV numbers. All right, so Mark Donald says, it's indeed a serious issue. Okay, so Aqua Kwanzaa says 2014 will be a year of blessing as it has been declared. Drivers want their cars to be blessed in order not to face any misfortunes. Okay, so Jimmy Ajay Ajeta says, I believe people use the DV number as an excuse to register their car number. Even some use it to rob, so I think something must be done. And I also thought, well, I should have asked DSP about, there is a time you cannot drive a DV car in town, and people still drive very late in the night, and they are stopped by the police, and some way, somehow, they still drive on. One of these days, I'll find out what they tell the police to get away with it, and what exactly the time is for them to park their DV number plate cars. Majid Awud from Gushegu says, okay, today is not Marian, my name is Gladys. Sorry I made my comments difficult for you yesterday, okay. Yesterday is gone, so let's look at what's on today, Majid. All right, so Ken Farouk Adam says, nah, it is not necessary talking about DV numbers. More issues are there to be tackled. Okay, so you have outlined a number of them. You say, we face high cost of living. The police should get rid of bribery and corruption, etc. If they don't have numbers, you complain. If they go for DV number 2, you talk why. Right, so that's coming from Kid Farouk Adam. Solomon Tay says, they should work on corruption first. Newton Jaffat says, New Year always come with new things and new ideas. That is why people want everything to be new for them. I think the police is only trying to get attention of people so that they will, okay, I don't exactly know what you're trying to say. All right, so Newton Jaffat, please resend your comments. Let's get it clear. Daniel Jacobo says, in Ghana, everybody is complaining. Why are they called the police? It is their responsibility to arrest such people. Are they waiting for me to tell them to do the work they are being paid for? They are the very people who takes money from them. Angels indeed. Yeah, well. Ankoma Brokwa Kweku Brook says the police should just enforce the law's spirit. What does the law say in relation to DV number plates? Instead of governments resourcing the police service, what do we see? The government should get ready because the tax-paying masses are tired of their insensitivity. Let me just take a few more. Nana Bright will be joining us very soon. But Emmanuel Tete says, this is not anything serious. DV cars are given 8 days to re-register. Anyone who refuses will be arrested. Well, I'm sure that is not happening, Emmanuel. And it's our concern too. Nana Alukwal says, DV number plates are used for criminal activities. Secondly, they are also used in the night, which is very dangerous to the individual and other road users because there are no reflectors on such vehicles with such number plates to prevent accidents. Finally, there is a law abuse or misuse of trade plates. Well, there's a lot going on. Keep your comments coming through, and we will be talking about them tomorrow. Okay, yeah. I probably am not in a hurry for the weekend, so we'll come your way again on Monday and we'll continue with your comments. But for the meantime, Nana has joined me. Nana?
Right, and let's tell you more to come later on at 8 o'clock. The use of recycled water bottles for the sale of food and drinks in the country has been widespread. Now, health officials are warning of a major public health crisis if it is not checked. I will tell you more about that later on at 8 o'clock.
Yes, and we also will be telling you about the use of recycled water bottles for the sale of food and drinks in the country. Okay, well, that's just what Nana was telling us about. And again, we'll be bringing you a story on market women at the Malamata market on Friday who protested new market tolls yet to be introduced by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. According to the market women, the Assembly is unilaterally imposing the new fees on them. So they definitely are protesting. They are not happy about the new fees. We'll be bringing you the details of the Malamata market women during our 8 o'clock news right here on Joy News.
Right, time now to wrap up the show for tonight. That's will lead us into the weekend. But thanks so much for having been part of the show. Joy News Exclusive is coming up right after this. My name is Bright Nanamfo.
And my name is Gladys Osayori. See you again next week.